What's up, YouTube? Not a Rockets video today. Not a Rockets video. I just want to talk some hoops with y'all. I hope that's okay. I hope you stay tuned in. Please like and subscribe, and let's get to it. There's really two main things that I want to talk about, or two main people, I should say, that I want to talk about. One is there's a narrative going around this gentleman that I just can't wrap my head around. And two is about the player who I just think is the best player in the NBA and probably has been since 2021, 2022, depending on who you ask. I called a few friends before I decided to make this video. I talked to a few people before I decided to make this video. And I'm going to get to this gentleman first just because he deserves it. I believe Nikola Jokic is the best player in his peak/prime since LeBron James. I'm going to say that again. I believe Nikola Jokic since LeBron James in his peak/prime is the best player. It's a combination of things as to why I say this. One of the things about Nikola Jokic earlier on, I would say after 2020, so from 2020 to 2022, I just saw a lot of stupid and just idiotic discourse around this man. I hate to say it as harsh as that, but frankly, that's what it was. In the 2021 season, after the bubble year, they were balling out. Then they traded for Aaron Gordon, and they started balling out even more. And then Jamal Murray tears his ACL. At that point, I remember vividly back then thinking, oh, shoot, that's it for the Nuggets. And not only did Jokic start playing better, but the team started playing better. And then when they got to the playoffs, I was like, oh, okay, it's a nice run. But Portland's healthy. Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, Yusuf Nurkic. Jokic isn't playing with anybody. This is going to be a quick series. And lo and behold, Nikola Jokic in 6 games sends the Portland Trailblazers home, and I believe he was the 6th seed that season. Ultimately, they got swept in the next round. But the one thing about Nikola Jokic that's separate from a Joel Embiid, his game never declined. He never went out there and laid an egg. So, and then the next season, still no Jamal Murray, and they go into the 2022 playoffs, and they go and they lose to the Golden State Warriors in 5 games, again with no Jamal Murray, and this time, no Michael Porter Jr., and everybody is piling on him. You got guys in the media like Nick Wright saying clown type of things, saying, oh, I'm holding him to a standard of other all-time greats, omitting the fact that he was not, or not him, but his teammates were not healthy. I just don't understand how you can have a conversation, call yourself an actual analyst, say that you're trying to be unbiased or trying to come off intelligent, and leave out that major fact in regards to Nikola Jokic. Another thing that I heard from fans was, well, Giannis won 2 MVPs and everybody just castrated him and blamed him when they lost to the playoffs. And I said, well, hold on. Giannis went into the 2019 postseason as the MVP, got to the conference finals, went up 2-0, and his points per game average at that moment dropped 7 to 8 points versus the Toronto Raptors. He completely got taken out of the series. Nobody on his team that was a key player was hurt. He had no number 2 or number 3 option that was hurt or missed the series. Then in the 2020 bubble, after he wins his 2nd MVP, and a DPOY, he goes and he lays an egg in the 2nd round to the Miami Heat. Once again, his points per game dropped significantly. His efficiency dropped significantly. Nobody was hurt that was a key player. That's why he got blamed. So when you talk about a player like Nikola Jokic and you say, well, he lost in 2021, he lost in 2022, why aren't you criticizing him? Well, unlike Giannis, he didn't have his number 2 or number 3 option. Unlike Giannis, his points per game, his assists, his rebounds, and his efficiency didn't plateau and fall off of off the cliff of what it was in the regular season. That is why he should not and did not deserve the type of criticism that was heaped upon him. Fast forward to last year, and of course, I made a video about this last season when it was said Kendrick Perkins and the nonsense, dumb shit that he said about Nikola Jokic in comparison to Joel Embiid, trying to bring in race into the factor. They finally gave Joel Embiid the MVP, and we saw how that turned out. We saw how foolish Joel Embiid made everybody that voted for him look. And we saw how foolish Nikola Jokic made everybody who didn't vote for him look. That is why. And I'll admit, as a Jokic fan, I was nervous this year. All offseason, I've seen him partying in Serbia. I've seen him with his horses. I saw Jamal Murray want to play for the Canadian national team, and then he backed out. I saw Aaron Gordon just partying. I saw Bruce Brown going on podcasts talking about how easy it was the whole playoff run. And I just was so nervous about what's Denver's mentality coming into this season. Are they still going to have that hunger? Are they still going to have that dog? And it's early, but 3-0 out the gate. Jokic won Player of the Week in the Western Conference. Jokic is the best basketball player since LeBron James. Number 2, man. I know I'm going to catch criticism for this. I know I'm going to catch heat. I know I'm going to get called a fanboy. I know I'm going to get called a stan. But like I said, I've had these conversations with friends and people in my life before I just get on here and start blabbering. James Harden. I don't understand the narrative around him. I don't. Now, I'm not stupid. Obviously, I understand in Houston, he quit. He violated COVID protocols set by the NBA. He was late to training camp. Understand that. Fast forward to when he's with the Nets, 2021, 2022. He quits on them during the Sacramento Kings game. Looks ugly. The team ultimately sends him home. Now, I cannot shoot him as much bail with the Nets situation as what happened with the Rockets situation. But at the same time, look at where Kevin Durant and look at where Kyrie Irving now. Are they still on the Brooklyn Nets? How did they go out in the 2020 playoffs? They went out sad, right? So it seems like maybe he had an in on what was going on there. And now the current situation and what's going on in Philly. James Harden isn't allowed to be disgruntled. Or maybe as an NBA player, you can only be disgruntled in a certain time span. You can't be disgruntled in a 1.5-year time span, or it seems like it's something wrong with you, especially if you're a player that's not likable, that doesn't get the benefit of the doubt. That's what it seems to me to be in this situation. Because now you have teams like the Clippers who aren't willing to part ways with Terrence Mann. Not Tyrese Maxey, who averaged 30 for a week, who's the player of the week in the Eastern Conference. Not him, Terrence Mann, whose biggest moment was hitting wide open corner threes in the Utah Jazz series of the 2021 playoffs. You have teams saying they're staying away. You have teams picking lesser players, in my opinion, much lesser players, paying them the same amount of money to not have James Harden and to have that other player. I don't understand the narrative around this guy. And I get it. Like, sometimes you can be difficult to work with, or you can at least build up a reputation of being difficult to work with. But every situation was a different situation. It's not like James Harden is waking out of bed and saying, I'm disgruntled, I'm unhappy. There are things that are happening. There are fundamental things that are happening in each of his 3 situations as to why he wanted out of every situation. The 2020-2021 Rockets, for example. How many of those guys are not in the league anymore? John Wall was supposed to be his number 2 option. DeMarcus Cousins, everybody loves DeMarcus. He's in Puerto Rico right now. The best player from that team was Jayshawn Tate. And Christian Wood, who's now making the veteran minimum, who was one of the latest signed free agents in this class, who went to the Lakers and who's coming off the bench. That was James Harden's second best player in 2021. And guys wanted him, stay there, thug it out. No. You look at the Brooklyn Nets situation and how things worked out with Kyrie and Kevin Durant, or didn't work out. And Kyrie Irving didn't want to get the shot. That's his right as a human. He doesn't have to get the shot if he doesn't want to get the shot. But at the same time, James Harden came there to play with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. Not one of the two. The prior season, he had already did most of the carrying when he got traded there from Houston. Now Kyrie is a part-time player. At first, Brooklyn said he couldn't be part-time at all. James Harden was still obviously coming back from the hamstring injury that he sustained in the Bucks series in the 2021 playoffs. Like, that's not what he signed up for. So he wanted out of that situation. Then you look at this current situation with the Philadelphia 76ers, and it's like, wow, it's like, oh, so it's okay to feel like lied to. It's okay. Like, you should be cool with your boss or your supervisor or your partner or your long-term friend lying to you. Like, that's acceptable in today's society if your name is James Harden, if you aren't likable, if you don't have a respectable reputation around the NBA. And when did that become cool? When did that become something that's good business? And James Harden isn't the first player to allegedly call, well, not even allegedly, to call Daryl Morey a liar. Chris Paul said he lied to him. Carmelo Anthony said he lied to him. I don't know if I agree with that one, but hey, they felt lied to. I don't even know if I agree with James Harden, but if he feels lied to, that's his feelings as a human. So I don't understand, like, a lot of people in the media, a lot of fans want, oh, just show up, just go to work and do this. But if you standing on principle, if you standing on business, why would you show up to work for a person that you really don't rock with in the first place? Like, I don't understand that. I'm not trying to be apologetic. There are things that James Harden did wrong. There are things that he could have did better. Absolutely. You can handle a lot of situations better, and maybe other people will be willing to work with you. But what I cannot and I will not ever understand is saying, no, I don't want to trade Terrence Mann and picks for James Harden. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. That'll be like Trae Young, who isn't even starting off the season hot. That'll be like the Clippers saying, I don't want Trae Young for Terrence Mann and a pick. You talking about Trae fucking Young? What are you talking about? Like, I don't understand this logic. And now you have two teams who are rumored, just rumored. One is really a rumor. Kendrick Perkins just went on TV and made some shit up. The Chicago Bulls and the Los Angeles Lakers potentially maybe having interest, gauging a little bit of interest depending on how their season go. The Chicago Bulls had a players-only meeting and wouldn't let the coaches in after the first game of the season. And then you have the Los Angeles Lakers, who I just believe have an offensive problem. I just think that they're good enough to get into the playoffs. They're good enough to get out the first round. But I just think that when it comes to those elite teams, Denver, you're going to need an offensive guy that can literally make the defense pay with his passing or his scoring. Who else to make Anthony Davis step up, be a pick and roll big, be that threat, than James Harden, who just helped Joel Embiid get 2 scoring titles and win an MVP. If it were me, I would do the deal. Obviously, I'm a little biased. I mean, shit, look, I got James Harden and Dwight Howard in the background on this picture. I am a James Harden fan. I'm not going to lie about it, but I'm also not going to lie to myself. I just think that it's kind of ridiculous, the reputation that he has around him. I think that it's unfair. I think that people need to start using a little bit more critical thinking in the media. This is not just some James Harden apologist shit. I just used another example with Nikola Jokic earlier in the video. Like, guys say things and they don't think. I just think it's so easy to hop on a train and they just keep pushing a narrative forward rather than getting off that train and actually thinking critically and actually putting 2 and 2 together and asking yourself more critical questions. I just think that that's too challenging for some people in the media and for some fans. But that's all, man. Ultimately, I hope y'all like the video. I hope y'all like the NBA takes that I have, the NBA opinions that I have. As always, if you did, thanks for watching. RedNationBlogga out.